Hi, friends. Welcome to the Uphold Her podcast. I'm your host, Jess, and I'm so excited you're here. I actually run a local nonprofit in Faulkner County, which is in Arkansas. Our nonprofit's called Life Choices, and our whole goal and mission is to equip women as they embrace motherhood. And twice a year, we put on two events. In our spring, we put on a women's event called Uphold Her, which is where we got the name for our podcast. And then in the fall, we host an event for our gala. And something that I brought to my team was, it's so hard. We work really tirelessly on these events, and we gather a bunch of women or families in the fall, and we only have like 2 hours to have this very important conversation, to give updates and to equip our donors and our volunteers. And it just started having us like dream about what it could look like to have a podcast where we could carry that conversation each and every week. And so over the next 6 weeks, I've invited some friends of mine, some coworkers to just have this conversation with you. I know some of you are very familiar with Life Choices, or you've been around. We've been a ministry that's been in our community for over 45 years. But I thought it would be nice to kind of just get to share my heart. I've stepped into this role in the last year and a half. And then over the next 6 weeks, just to get to know some of my friends as we talk about pro-life and what our heart is for our mission and how we accomplish reaching women right where they are in their crisis. And so I just know that my team, these are conversations we hold strong conviction around, not just because of what we believe. We are believers of the word. We call ourselves Christians. But it's something that we walk out every single day with the women that we serve. And at Life Choices, we walk alongside women in all kinds of situations. Some are planned, some are unexpected, and some are honestly super difficult. And what we learned in this is that every woman deserves support as she steps into motherhood. No matter how she may have gotten to that decision where she's walked through that door with us, no matter the crisis she might feel like she's sitting in, we want to walk with her no matter how her story truly began. And so through this podcast, I hope that you feel upheld, equipped in the truth, and empowered to take your next step, to maybe partner with us if you're in the area, or maybe you're in another state and you're hearing this and you're like, I had no clue what pregnancy centers do, and how can I be a part of serving women in my neighborhood? Like I was saying, I'll have friends and guests over the next 6 weeks. We're talking on topics of having a good conversation and good faith, that we don't want to be argumentative with our neighbors and friends, but if we have convictions, how can we share that? How can we feel settled in our convictions? I have a friend coming and just teaching us about the word, and that we can be confident believers, that social media and politics and the world seems so loud. But as each one of us as women who have these convictions on the value of life, we don't have to get riled up and be argumentative. We can just speak our truth and do that in love and in empathy. And we'll have friends talking about how some of these conversations can't be won just through talking about it or even serving or giving of your finances into the work. A lot of the battle has to be won in prayer. The enemy has tactics. He's been watching us since the beginning of time. He knows what to tell us, what to say, how to use media and all these things. But we know we are victorious. We know that our God is the author of life. And when we follow in his steps and in his ways, that we honor him in those things, that we can flourish in all areas of our life. And so as we jump in, I just thought, let me just share a little bit more about myself. I stepped in as the executive director about a year and a half ago, and I have 4 executive directors before me. And so, in 1980, Life Choices got started because the Roe versus Wade happened. And I just love the generation in the 80s. This happened in our nation, a very pillar moment where across our nation, women had access to abortions. And there was a generation of women and men in local churches who said, we're going to have women who have access and are going to have people to talk to about terminating their pregnancies. And this generation rolled up their sleeves and said, we're going to do something about that. We want to have a safe place that women can walk into, that they can feel loved and seen, and that they're choosing motherhood even in the middle of a crisis or lack of resources or lack of relationships. We're going to be able to be there. And what you've seen from their faithfulness of starting something, I'm getting to have I get to live in that legacy. I've been, stepping in. We just celebrated our 45th anniversary, and it's just so encouraging to know that the women before me were just faithful, that the donors and the volunteers before me just showed up faithfully, that there was people covering us in prayer, and I get to honestly walk in that blessing. I have an amazing team at Life Choices. We have 7 people on staff, 4 are full-time, and we have 2 part-time, and we have volunteer nurses and volunteer counselors, but I'll tell you more about all that later. But how I got here, because it was a hard yes. I think sometimes the Lord will put things on your lap and he'll ask you to be obedient, and you might go into that obedience with fear and trembling. But he's good and he is gracious, and he does equip us for what he's asking of us. But I think there's a level of stepping outside the boat and trusting him that he'll allow you to walk on water. You just got to keep your eyes fixated on him. Deciding to go and say yes to stepping into this role, I definitely was intimidated. But, I gave my heart to the Lord when I was 21 years old, and I feel like he's taken me on a journey and getting to be a part of local nonprofits in my area. I started working with the Arkansas Dream Center back in, 2010. It's a local nonprofit where we work with kids with maybe relational lack and financial lack, and just partnering with the local schools, providing meals if they have food insecurity. And that actually took me to New York City, where I worked for a nonprofit there, and I really got my hands and experience in administration. I thought, I am not OCD, I'm ADHD, and I'm never going to be able to do anything administration. And just got to watch the Lord really start building me in that area, realizing that self-discipline will really help me in this area. That my life is not my own anymore. And I met my husband there, and he's from Germany. And I convinced him, Arkansas is better. And so we moved from New York City to Arkansas once we got married. And we now have 2 beautiful children. We have our daughter who's 6 and our son who is 3 years old. And you'll probably hear me talk about them. It's hard not to from episode to episode. But I love my family. And in the last year, we both changed jobs. I would highly not recommend you and your husband making, a very life pivotal moment of change. But it was exciting. Marius, my husband, stepped into leading a church, and I stepped into leading Life Choices. And I think anything like that, where it's like, oh, God's giving us more territory, more people to steward, that felt intimidating. Like, who am I and how am I going to accomplish all this? I have 2 kids. And I will say, over the last year and a half, and if you're in that season where God might be bringing you into change, it did feel like he was picking up the pillars and extending my tent. And if he's going to extend your tent of territory to serve other people and more people, he will give you the strength and the ability and the knowledge and the wisdom to do it. It was fearful in that moment when I said yes, because I kept thinking about, how am I going to do this in my own might? How am I going to do this with my own strength? And I have just gotten to experience, you can't. And you're going to need him even on a deeper level. And so just saying yes in obedience, I've gotten to just grow deeper in my relationship with the Lord. And it has been a blessing in disguise. But I'm so thankful the Lord gave me the strength and the courage to say yes. And so this work means so much to me. I gave over a decade of my life helping families, really when the kid turned 5. And now to work with women from the moment they find out they're pregnant. I just can't wait to continue to build programming around how to provide consistency for the mom and the family, so that kid can really thrive. And when they get to kindergarten, that they'll be able to sit down in a desk and they'll have the resources and all the things to be a thriving individual in the school and education world. And so there was something about stepping into this work that changed the way really that I see people. I have known about pregnancy centers, but I've never saw them firsthand. And when you watch women walk through the door, I think at first you're just, you know about the biases of they must be overwhelmed or they must be living in sin and they're getting pregnant out of wedlock. But then when you get to know the women by name and you realize how brave they are. I mean, have you ever done anything by yourself? It's terrifying when you have to show up to a restaurant. I have friends who go to the movies by themselves. I'm like, I would never. I just can't. And you watch these women walk into these appointments all by themselves. I'm just like, yes, you're fearful and you're in a situation you may not wish you would have found yourself in. But really deep down, you're a brave individual. You're walking in to strangers. You've signed up for an appointment to find out, confirm, all right, I am pregnant. But to just sit across from strangers and share your story and open up and, choose the path of motherhood. I look at every woman that we serve at Life Choices as just they really are brave, courageous individuals. And, at our core, we exist to meet women in the moments where they can feel very overwhelmed, uncertain, in disbelief that this is their reality, honestly. And everything we do at Life Choices is to uphold her, to equip her, to empower her right where she's at. And it's not just something we say, it's something we truly believe in. That's everything that we focus on as a staff and a team. It's something that people always ask me, well, what does that actually look like? Because, I think pregnancy centers have such a stigma around them. If you're scrolling social or you're watching any news on TV, let's be honest, it can feel like the pro-life movement is all about the baby. And yes, we very much care about the baby's life. They did not choose their circumstances. They didn't choose to be here. But we wholeheartedly believe that the woman should be cared for as well. And so at Life Choices, how we support them, because that's a question, like I was saying, is always asked to me, well, what do you do for them? And so when a woman walks through our doors, of course, we talk with her and we handle it first medically. We confirm pregnancy, and then we have ultrasounds with her. We don't have to convince her of anything. When the ultrasound starts, she sees the life. She can hear the heartbeat. She can see her kids' arms and legs, and they're moving around. So I think a lot of the perception is you're just convincing her to have her baby. It's just a clump of cells. And honestly, we don't really have to argue that. It's hey, you're pregnant, let's do an ultrasound. And they can see that truth for themselves. I think every woman that walks through our doors is pretty smart. They're intelligent women. So as soon as they see a baby on the screen that's moving around inside them and they can hear their heartbeat, we don't have to convince them that it's a clump of cells or not. We're not trying to manipulate anyone. And so at their second appointment, they meet with one of our staff, who's our resource coordinator. And we're you have entered motherhood now. And I know they might still be contemplating whether they're going to continue forward with their pregnancy or not. But we want to give them every opportunity that if you're going to choose motherhood, we're going to walk with you hand in hand. And so we do that through our education department. We do that while they're pregnant. We have 4 classes that we offer, holding their hand every phase of the way. Then we walk with them after baby's born. We have our postpartum program. And so as soon as she comes, we walk with her for 8 weeks. And we have doulas on hand that are helping them with nursing. And if nursing's not working out, how to switch over to formula or how to do, a hybrid system for a moment, or what to prepare for when you're going back to work and your kid's going to get dropped off at daycare for the first time. But we're also offering her counseling during that time. Postpartum can come with a lot. Your hormones are raging and everything's trying to get balanced back out. And mental health and depression, it's real. And so we want to work with her and to make sure that she is thriving in motherhood. And then we walk with her until her baby turns 1. We have, classes for her every month to just help explain the milestones that your baby should be hitting. And then when that baby turns 1, they start walking. And so we walk with them until their child turns 2. Gosh, a goal of mine, yes, is to walk with them until that baby is going into kindergarten. And through generous people and finances, we might get there one day. And that is my prayer. But right now, we're walking with someone from the moment they find out they're pregnant all the way until their child turns 2. It's like 3 years of expansion. It's a lot of investment, a lot of touch points. We don't want her just to have the baby. We want her to be a thriving mother on the other side. And through that process, we know as a girl is contemplating what she's going to do, the things she might have to give up, or the things she might have to reprioritize, or maybe mom or dad, the father of the child, or maybe not wanting to be involved. We understand that it might break off things relationally. That is a lot to process. We don't want her to do that alone. So we have licensed counselors that come in and offer work, pro bono, to meet with our women to walk through those very hard relational situations. And so we offer that free of charge as well. And then in all of that, we're earning points, and they can shop in the store. We provide diapers and resources. And so from the moment the woman finds out she's pregnant to her child turns 2, we want to make sure that she's upheld, she's equipped, and she really is empowered to do motherhood and do it in a way that isn't overwhelming. Well, let's not lie. Motherhood can feel overwhelming at any point, but we want her to know she's not alone, that she can do this, and that there's a village of people supporting her and championing her. And so I know we've talked a lot about like our women and the program that we serve. And gosh, you might be listening on the other side of this going, wow, I had no clue what All Pregnancy Center did. I had no clue what Life Choices was doing in and day out within their programming. And you might be someone who's sitting here going, I really deeply care about women and children and what motherhood can be like, and how it's such a sanctification process that the Lord uses in our lives, and that children are a blessing, and that it's just a lie from the enemy to think that a child robs us from anything. They only add so much to our lives, even in the hard. We learn, if you've done anything hard in your life, like I used to, I ran a marathon before, and I remember thinking on race day, what did I just sign up for? You know, I'm like, can I really accomplish this? It feels like a mountain in front of you. And you're like, oh, did I eat enough? And all the things start rattling through your mind. But once you push yourself to it and you're in the process of doing it, you kind of get halfway and you're like, okay, I'm kind of figuring this out. My legs are a little sore. Maybe I'm getting some blisters. But there's nothing that can beat when you when you cross the finish line. When you get to the other side and you look back, there's something that is built in you in that moment. There's this confidence that overflows out of you. Like, I can do hard things. If I set my mind to something, I can accomplish it. And then you take that and you apply it to other things. And motherhood is a lot like that journey, that the moment, no matter even if you're trying to get pregnant, like we had fertility issues. And I'll never forget, like, I'm paying money, I'm seeing doctors, we're in and out like every other week. And the moment that pregnancy test was positive, I mean, it felt like race day. Like, what did I decide? Like, why did I do this? Oh my gosh. Even though I knew I wanted to grow my family, like, there's this moment of truth, like a moment of reality of like, wait, am I prepared? Am I ready? So even the women that are walking through our door, they have the right to think that, like, am I really going to be able to do this? You start thinking about all your flaws. You start thinking about the money, and then you really start looking at how much diapers cost and daycare and like job and all the things. And so when you're processing through all of that, when you take the leap to go, I'm going to run this race called motherhood, once that baby's here and you're doing it, and I can't imagine what it's going to feel like. My kids are still young, and I am tripping up and I'm failing in motherhood all the time. I'm thankful for my mom and friends I can call and get advice from. But man, I can't wait to continue the journey. I can't wait to hit different milestones, which feels like that you're finishing that cross, like coming across that finish line. I remember when my kids turned 1, it felt like a finish line moment. My kids starting kindergarten, it feels like, wow, we're getting to these next phases of life. And I can't wait to continue to watch them grow up and experience high school and maybe college one day and kids and all the things. And it's been a beautiful journey. And so I don't know who that was for. I just went on a tangent, but hopefully you're still following along with me. But what does it actually look like to live out this in a way that shows compassion and support to the women around you? Now, you may not have the time to go volunteer at your local pregnancy center. You may be a part of your local church and you see a group of single moms. You could start a life group. It's that simple. Like, you might, every time you go to Walmart, say, I'm going to make a commitment to pick up a package of diapers. The smallest amount of diapers is like $10. And you're like, I'm going to go find a pregnancy center and every week I'm going to drop it off. It can be that simple. But for others of you, you might feel like, no, I have the time, I have the capacity, I want to do more. You might get on Google and search and find your local pregnancy center. You might just say, hey, can I come in? I would love to talk to the director or maybe the person running operations, and I have time to give. You might start with just sorting the clothes for their clothing store. If you have, maybe you're a nurse and you're like, I can give my time and do ultrasounds. Maybe you're a counselor and say, we could start a counseling program and I can meet with women. I always tell people it's endless opportunities for what we can do. I mean, packaging diapers, getting all your friends together. If you're a mom of small kids and just saying, we're going to go through all of our clothes and donate it to a pregnancy center. It's getting your kids ministry at a local church and saying, hey, once a month we're going to gather PJs and donate it to a pregnancy center, or another nonprofit in the community that might be working with foster care. Whatever it is, it's supporting the life of a child, and you're rallying around a mom. And so I just think there's endless ways that you can be a part in real life, and it starts. And our hope in this, with starting the podcast, is that we can continue the conversation to uphold you, the people who are maybe believers, the people who are searching to be like, I believe in life, that we can equip you too. And so I know over the next couple of weeks, I was telling you that earlier, like, we're going to be talking about things, but my heart is, how can we equip you to get in the game? That there is a woman who need to hear your story. There's women who need your time. There's women who might need your finances, where you can just donate and write a check. And you may think, oh, that's just writing a check to like, y'all fix the problem. It's no, like, that is such a blessing. Like, when the generous people give to our nonprofit, we are beyond thankful, because it allows us to say yes to more things. It allows us to hire and have staff to meet the women that are walking through our door. It allows us to buy more material resources. Every girl that finishes our classes gets a car seat. We give them labor and delivery supplies. We give them a newborn basket and a gift. We do newborn photos. We do baby's first year photos. We have events like Mother's Day and Christmas parties. Like, we want to have as many touch points with the mom as that we can. And so you might be just sitting there going, wow, I could throw a baby shower for a mom. Yeah, you could. I could host the Christmas party at my church. Yeah, you could. I think there's so many ways that you could be a part of the pro-life movement that shows compassion and love and empathy for a mom that's hurting. The biggest thing is, everyone thinks that this woman may have gotten there because of financial lack. But I would argue that a woman got there because she has relational lack. It goes hand in hand. If they don't have the finances and the relationships, think about it. When you're like up at night in motherhood, who do you call? Who do you call and vent to? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep last night, or oh, my daughter's going through this, or my son's getting bullied, or we didn't make the baseball team. Who are you calling? And if you're sitting on the other side and you don't have anyone that you actually call, I would say you're in a relational lack. I would find a life group. I would get into in a local church. I'm not saying you're going to find your people immediately, but I would say it's worth the investment to keep trying to find your people, because you're going to need friends in this life. And our women need friends. And that is often I remember when I first started at Life Choices, I saw that firsthand. These women were leaving the labor and delivery room. They just had baby and they were coming straight to our center. And I thought, wow, we aren't just employees. We're not just meeting a need. We're their friend. I remember calling my friends right when I had baby. I remember only really wanting to see my mom when I first had my kids, to know that they're in their most raw moment. Everything is going on. If you're a mom, you know your whole body has just gone through the ringer, and they're showing up to let our staff see their baby. And I just think that you could also have that impact in someone's life. That they're the first person they call is you. You've invested your story, your time, your finances into them, and you are creating generational change. And so, I think it starts with upholding women, meeting them with compassion without judgment. Then it looks like equipping them with real support and resources. And then ultimately it means empowering them to move forward with confidence. And aren't we thankful for the people who've done that in our life? And I think this is where you come in, because supporting women in this way, it doesn't happen alone. It takes a community of people willing to step in and say, I want to be a part of something that really upholds her, equips her, and empowers her forward. And there's so many ways, if you're in our local area, to get involved. You literally can call our number, and we'll try to attach it to the description. I don't know how that works. My team will do that for me. But just call. Let's just have a meeting. Let's just chat. We'll talk about what your passion points are. We had, someone that used to run a workout class for moms. Well, sure, let's get that started in postpartum. We had licensed counselors come in and say, I really love postpartum and I want to help support women in that area. Great. It's like, I want to come in and just fold clothes and hang them up because I'm, a very organized person. We always need that girl. Please come organize our little store, keep us organized, stay on top of all the donations and going through it. It feels like thrifting, right? But you're getting to bless moms who are going to come in and shop for those needs. And I would just say, if you're in a place where you can give financially, and that might just mean $10 a month. Our monthly partners mean so much to us because they help us build the foundation of how we can plan for. One-off gifts are amazing. We're so thankful for the person who thought of us and wrote a really nice big check. It's like, yes, thank you. But our monthly donors who just even give $10 a month, it allows us to plan. It allows us to know what we're going to for real be able to say yes to, because we have this foundation of monthly income. And that allows us to say, yes, we can provide at least 6 car seats every month. And then everything else that comes in are people who just drop those off. That's the over and abundance that we can say yes to. And we want to ensure that we never have to say no to any mama that walks through our door. And so, give monthly, give one time. And then I think the biggest thing is just to join any pregnancy center. This topic as a whole, motherhood, covering it in prayer, covering abortion in our nation, covering it in prayer of what lie are the women believing, what lifestyles are they living in, and then how can every staff member that's at a pregnancy center and volunteer, how can they continue to help women find solid ground? I'm so thankful for Jesus. When we start following his ways, even before we've maybe given our whole life to him, he starts giving us a firm foundation to walk. And when we follow the ways that he has said, he values life, he values serving the poor, he values giving the clothes off your back to feed the homeless, when we start living and modeling the way that what he cares about, I'm a firm believer that you're going to see blessings in your own life for living a life of sacrifice to others. But when we show up for another woman, she's going to get to experience the love of God like never before. And she'll get the blessings of that. She'll understand what a firm foundation is. She'll get to walk and not trip. And I'm thinking of Isaiah 61. We get to bestow on every woman that walks through our doors. They might be grieving. They might be mourning. They might be thinking about everything that they're going to leave behind. But we get to give them a gladness of joy. We get to offer that to them and that they really can walk in that. And so I'm just excited to see how you're going to be a part. I'm excited for you to join us back every Tuesday and just learn and grow with us. I think the more we know, the more equipped we are, the more confident we can be as women together supporting other women. And at the end of the day, everything is just about connection, being a part of the local body of Christ, being a part of believers, rolling up our sleeves and saying, I can't do everything, but I can do one part. And when we're all collectively doing our part, man, we can make this place a whole lot better. And so I'm just a firm believer in that. And so as we come to a close, I'm just really excited to have you join us back every week. I hope that you can find yourself in every episode. Maybe there's questions of doubt or insecurity or the feeling of lack in your own life where you're like, I can't give back. You can. And if you're a person listening that's found themselves in a really hard place where you're like, I cannot believe I got here, whether that is an unplanned pregnancy or just anything, there's sin in all of our lives, right? We're sinners. If you're in a place where you're just like, man, I just didn't imagine myself getting here, Jesus, he has covered that already. Don't let the shame and guilt hold you back, from being a part or to receiving healing, but also being a part of telling your story to help someone else who might be in a pit. And there's one thing I hope that you take away from today is this. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to figure out your next step. Like, I could never believe that I'm in this position now. But as I was preparing for this, I started thinking back about how God prepared me every single step of the way. I didn't go into that season having this in mind. I was just being obedient to Jesus and saying, yes, I'll serve the people around me and I'll do it in this capacity. And it kept teaching me and molding me and creating in me new ways that I could look up and fix my eyes on Jesus and also look at the people hurting around me and go, I can do something about it. So you don't have to know the big story. You just need to know, ask the Lord, what is your next step? How can I be a part of equipping women and upholding them and empowering them in motherhood? So no matter how your journey into motherhood began, no matter how your journey in motherhood is going, I believe that you can support women no matter what. And so either way, our goal in all of this is you're like, gosh, Jess, we get it. But, some of us, we didn't hear it. We're driving, we're sipping coffee, we have our AirPod in our ear, and our kids are running wild. Our goal at Live Choices is to uphold, equip, and empower every woman we serve, but we also want to do that with every woman that serves alongside of us. We value you. We value where you're at and the place that you're in. And so if we can uphold you, if we can equip you, if we can empower you in your call and in your walk with the Lord, that is the whole reason I even brought this idea to the team. I'm like, I don't want to be behind or doing this. I hate being on this camera. I don't want to sit down with the guests that I have coming. I'm like, I don't want to enter the arena on this topic of conversation and this pro-life movement. It is high cancel culture right now. I'm like, I just want to sit back in my cozy environment and just do my good work. But all I kept thinking about is the woman who's at home with her kids, who's like lost her purpose. The girl that's sitting at church going, I know that there's something on my life and I want to be a part of it, of helping other moms and women. I have a story that God's redeemed. And I feel like I'm supposed to go tell somebody. And so we have just been thinking and praying about you. And if we can get out of our comfort zones to meet you in this platform, and you go and you grab 5 women or 1 woman and you empower and encourage her, this to me is all worth it. And so my hope is that, you'll join us back every Tuesday. We'll drop a new episode. We'll be with you for the next 6 weeks. I think this is week 1. See, I don't even know all the details. I'm just figuring this out. I'm just doing my first step like I encouraged you in. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning as we go. But I'm going to be obedient in my yes, and I'm just going to put myself out there. And I really pray that it impacts your life on the other side. We can't wait to see you back next week for the Uphold Her podcast.